Welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to take a look at Community Report 71 for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. This was published on the 3rd of April 2023. So let's just get in and see what the devs have got to say. It says, "Greetings, dear comrades of the Soviet Republic and all the fans of this game. I hope this report will find you in good health and high spirits. As you know, life in the Soviet Republic can be challenging, but it's also full of opportunities. One such opportunity is demolition. The demolition of old buildings and infrastructure can provide space for new developments and pave the way for progress. However, it also presents a new challenge for waste management." And below that, we've got a picture, which we'll just take a quick look at. You can see the big pile of demolition rubbish here. So obviously this is a redevelopment area. So moving down to the next paragraph, demolition. "We are excited to announce that demolition will become a new feature in our game. This feature will add an additional difficulty level for waste management, and it will require players to clear debris and process waste after demolishing buildings and infrastructure. Unlike in the past where buildings and infrastructure would simply disappear, the demolition feature will provide a more realistic and challenging gameplay experience and will be another optional difficulty setting for your Republic." So I'm just wondering whether that demolition will be a setting that's separate from waste management. So you can turn on waste management, but not demolition, or whether the two will be combined. Anyway, that's just the first thought. Below that, it looks like we got a picture of a demolition office. Okay. Right, I think what we'll do is we'll just read the next paragraph and then come back and look at the pictures. The demolition process will work similarly to the construction process, but in reverse order. Demolition will be conducted by dedicated demolition officers, which will use excavators and waste container trucks as their main equipment. The demolition office will have a range in which it will search for buildings designated for demolition and will dispatch vehicles to the site if there are some. So we'll just go back and take a look at the picture now. So what we got is it does look like a construction office. It looks like we're going to have workers for it, explosives. So, we're going to have explosives. Maybe we'll get an explanation on that. And then it looks like we got construction waste, metal scrap, hazardous waste, mixed waste. And we got a button here. It looks like it says it'll look for explosive things, and then it goes. So yeah, it does work like a construction office. And what we got here is excavators. I think they said that. Let me just look here. Demolition. Yeah, so basically you're just going to need excavators in and waste container trucks. To be honest, how much demolition you're going to do depends. I mean, so we're probably just going to need a relatively small demolition office. Anyway, guys, we're just going to skip the next picture down and we'll just read what it says below. There's the process will require players to carefully plan and coordinate the demolition process, including setting the source buildings for workers and explosives if you wish to use them, as well as facilities where the waste must be transported from the demolition site for further processing. This is a challenge mainly because without removing the debris, you cannot build in the area. So you need to develop ways how to deal with demolished buildings and infrastructure fast and efficiently. For players who prefer a more hands-off approach, they will be able to use money to pay for demolition, similar to how they can pay for construction. The cost of demolition will include the price of demolition, transportation, and waste processing abroad. This will allow players to focus on other aspects of the games while still being able to progress through the demolition process. So what this is saying is that if you go for manual demolition, you've got to manage it yourself. If you decide you don't want to have demolition, it works as basically the same as auto build. If you press it, and you will then demolish the building. But of course, what they're implying here is that we no longer be free. So there will be a cost to remove the debris to the border. So there'll be a difference in cost between demolishing a building close to a customs post and say in the middle of a map. So that could be an unexpected cost. Anyway, let's just take a look at the picture now. So what we got here is a block of flats. This is workers on the construction site. So they're demolishing a block of flats here. And yeah, so productive age workers, mixed waste. So you've got a prefab there with the building, and then you've got the one here where they're actually demolishing it. And it says waste on, so it actually tells you what the waste on demolition is and what type of waste it is. So this building's been demolished, and you can see it's almost been taken down in phases. And we're going to get 23 tons of, I presume that's construction waste, metal scrap, and mixed waste. And then what you have to do is actually just remove that. Interesting. So now we're going to move down to explosives. For players who want to speed up the demolition process, they will have the option of using explosives. This will make the process quicker, but the waste and debris will be mixed together, which will require more processing after it is removed. This option will require players to carefully consider the trade-offs between speed and efficiency, and sometimes you need it to be fast, while other times you can take your time, or you may just want to go for the boom effect. Oh, we've got to take a look at the pictures. So it looks like what we got here is a warehouse, which has got explosives in. The interesting thing that I'm thinking from the perspective of explosives is I'm assuming that you would have to purchase them at the border, but that actually poses the question about, can we make our own explosives? I mean, they're not saying they've not said whether it be possible, and I'm pretty sure if the developers don't provide a formula for an explosive factories, I'm sure somebody in the mod community will come up with it. I mean, I don't know what the formula for explosives is. I don't better not mention it, because of the way YouTube is, they probably demonetize the video. And then below here we've got the result of the explosion. That's a big pile which would have to be removed. You can see it's all mixed up. So the big difference here is that if you demolish like it's being done, I think it's in this picture, you've got a nice tidy demolition with it coming down in this way. If you blow it up, then what you get is an almighty mess, which has then got to be taken away and recycled in a recycling factory. So that is interesting. I must admit, I'm looking forward to this, and I'm certainly going to be blowing up the occasional building just for the fun of it. We just moved down. It says rail track demolition. In addition to building an infrastructure demolition, players will have to demolish rail tracks. The process will be carried out by railroad construction officers. The reason for this exception is that some of the material from the rail track demolition process can be recycled and used as material for railroad constructions. Right, we're not going to look at the picture. We'll just go down here. Is when it comes to rail track demolition, they have made things easier for you, but you'll not have to think about transporting resources to the railroad construction office. Instead, you only need to send a railroad builder to the site, and then resources will be teleported to the office. However, to make this process work, you will need to have a waste dump connected to the factory connection of the railroad construction office, and we will still be testing the system to ensure everything works and make additional changes when necessary. That is going to be very interesting, because I'm just thinking in terms of the way I build rail tracks. If any of you follow my series, you'll be aware that I routinely put in little crossovers in, and then I remove them later on. If we've got to send a track layer out to actually remove them, I think I may have to review the way I'm actually going to be laying track. Now, let's take a quick look at this picture. Yeah, you can see all the track being torn up. That's pretty cool, actually. I think we'll just make this into our thumbnail, I think. So we're going to go down there. It says demolition. So just move down to the next section. It says demolition waste visualization system. Help players understand the waste that they are dealing with and what's been working on the demolition waste visualization system. This system will help players know what the main components of the construction waste is based on the resources used to build the structure and infrastructure that was demolished. For example, if your building was constructed mostly of concrete and steel, the resulting waste will have higher concentrations of this material. This visualization information can be used to make better decisions about how to process and recycle the waste. Now, I'm quite interested in these pictures, because if you actually look at these pictures, these are road bridges. You've got the concrete one there, the brick one there, and the wood one there. And then what we got here, and these are actually roads and tracks. So we got an asphalt road, a pavement road, gravel road, and then we got, I'm presuming that's the electrified track. The second from the top is the concrete track. No, I'd say that's the wood track. Then you've got the concrete track there. Now, what I'm taking from these pictures is it means that if you want to remove a road, you're going to have to physically demolish the road as well, which is something they didn't mention up here. But then it makes sense, because a normal construction office would build a road. Therefore, a demolition office like this could then, actually, it says for workforce with explosives. So let me just look at this. So it says the auto just search looks for buildings that are flagged for demolition or with explosives. So let me just go back through the pictures here. So look on the right hand side here, it's actually got a demolition button. So when you click the demolition button, what that will do is it will flag it for demolition. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I missed that, guys. As you may guess, I'm actually reading this through for the first time with you. So yeah, so it means we're gonna have to demolish roads again. So we're gonna have to be a bit careful when we're planning roads. No more just zapping out a road and going there. I assume the only road that we'll be able to zap out immediately will be a mud road. So I think on that basis, we're probably gonna have to do a lot more planning with mud roads, because the last thing, oh, then again, if it's not built, well, I need to think about that, guys. So let's just move down to the last section. So there's more features and realistic mode. Comrades, we're just aware that in realistic difficulty, you will not have the option to use money for demolition. But there will be another feature related to demolition difficulty, and that is vehicle scrapping. No longer will you be able to simply delete vehicles when they are no longer needed. Instead, if you choose to liquidate a vehicle, you have to pay the transportation costs based on its size. Moreover, if the vehicles are too old, you may have to pay for the removal because you will receive no money for the vehicle, but you will have to pay for the liquidation abroad. This new feature will make the game even more challenging. You will add additional level of complexity. But do not worry, there will be a special scrap yards available for your Republic where the vehicles can be sent to be scrapped. These yards will disassemble your vehicle and allow you to recycle some of the resources. And for those larger vehicles like airplanes, where we've included a big scrapyard, which you can be connected to an airplane parking connected with your airport for aircraft scrapping. It's all part of the efforts to create more realistic and immersive experience for our players. Now, I'm going to assume that because they talk about aircraft, they probably mixed in that mix will be a shipyard scrapping yard as well. This could be interesting, because if there's a cost to actually getting rid of vehicles, what you may have to do, instead of like just clicking on the button, what you may have to, especially if you're not going to use the scrap yards, what it says it's based on the size. Let me just read this through again. Needed scrapping no longer be simply delete the vehicles. So there'll be a cost for the vehicles. So what you may have to do is keep a depot near the border, and then you could send the vehicles to the depot for rapid scrapping. But either that, or what we're going to have to do is build special scrap yards somewhere. I can see the waste management is going to get very intriguing. In fact, the way things are going for a large economy with lots of things going on, because they still haven't fleshed out how the actual vehicle maintenance is going to work. I can see actually having to build a town which is going to recycle the waste, but then you've got the process of moving all the waste to that one place. So there's more about this in the maintenance report. Yeah, I missed that bit at the bottom. So yeah, so this is the section here. So we're going to learn more about this in the maintenance report later on. So just reading the final paragraphs, it says, we hope that you, dear comrade of the Soviet Republic, all the fans of the games are excited about these new features we have introduced. The demolition becoming a part of the game must now face additional challenges and difficulties, bringing in more complexity of your gaming experience. In the next report, we will be sharing more details about vehicle and building maintenance. Must admit, that is one of the areas that I do really want to know about. And this will add even more realism to the game and may feel like a true manager of a Soviet Republic, even though that such a project is usually one-man show. It says, in the meantime, do not forget to enjoy life and have fun. Keep an eye out for more updated and stay tuned for the next report. Till then, be safe and happy gaming. Well, guys, this is a very interesting report. As I say, my main takeaway is that it is going to introduce a whole level of complexity, especially when planning now. And I must admit, I've got a bit of a habit of just dropping roads down and thinking, driven it a try, but we're going to have to be a lot more aware about what's going on. The rail track side, I don't really feel that I'd probably use that very much, because I don't tend to demolish track or remove track unless, of course, I've built it wrong. except for that, like I've already previously mentioned, the little crossovers. But truthfully, they can be left in the game, because if you actually travel or look at track in real life, you will see various crossover points actually laid in the track, which is used by the maintenance crews. So maybe we may need to actually put in maintenance links as well. That is going to be very interesting. I must admit, I really like the demolition. The explosives, I definitely gonna have to blow a few buildings up. But the one thing I've already mentioned is, if we come into here, is whether we're going to be able to manufacture our own explosives. So this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed this report. Any ideas, thoughts, feel free to chuck it in the video description and we'll have a chat. So until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.